Welcome back. So this being the week of Christmas, you know, you always think about keeping things light, but, you know, I just love it. I hope everyone is really having a good time. Just if anything, forget the gifts and the materialism. How about have a good time for those that can and go make some snowmen, have snowball fights, go sledding, go, you know, do all sorts of things you can. Have fun, relax. Or is what we used to do in Detroit, which you can't do anymore, of course, because back in the day, we used to have the bumpers on the cars. Remember how they were steel bumpers wrapping around the back? Well, in Detroit, growing up as a kid, we used to run out from the bushes when the snow was a foot and a half high in the street. And we would run out and then grab onto the metal bumpers. And we used to call it shagging. And we would sit behind and ski behind the car until we fell off. And we did that quite often as kids until one of my friends, Era Tufangshin, I'll never forget him. We played football together and everything. He's a good friend. But he hit a dry patch in the road. Oh, he shouldn't be laughing. And just bam, did he nail that concrete. And that kind of ended our shagging days. We decided it was too dangerous, but it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but just merely get out and enjoy it. I think the holidays is just so important to show the respect that Jesus Christ had come to give us, or what he'd come to give us, was really that freedom from the oppression, freedom from the division of the Luciferians, freedom from the anarchy of the soul. And the gift he had given us that we should all remember this Christmas is love and joy and peace and patience, gentleness and kindness and self-control. I like how it's love and self-control as bookends of the gifts he had given us. I think many of us this season need to step way back and recognize race, demographic, and economic as all division and divisiveness of the devil. Because in the end of the day, God created the heart first. And for those that have ever seen the image of a baby, which totally melted my heart, at around 7 weeks, we took a picture, and I saw a little white blinking dot. And the doctor said, yes, that's the heart. And I'm like, how appropriate for God to make the heart first. And once that heart's beating, how beautiful it is. See, it's in the heart is the issue, or who we are as a man, as human. And so it matters not of our economics or our demographic or our race. That's all devil. It just matters what your heart is. And so if anything, maybe this Christmas, I mean, I'm as guilty as maybe you are. I don't know, maybe you're not. But we all have been under pressure socially. This social justice warrior stuff is insanity from the devil. And we are dividing and male this and female that and race this. Why don't we all step back for a moment? Why don't we step back? For those who have had the feelings and emotions, if you're sitting there right now watching and you had that emotion or feeling towards somebody, step back this moment and let's do an experiment. Let's actually do an act of kindness for someone maybe we want to kick in the knee. And let's see what happens. I know. We'll probably go back to what we were thinking before, after the fact, right? But if we all just did this, I really think America can get back to what it was. You know, really, truly, I believe that in the heart of America, people love one another. I'm around all the time, all different types of people. And there's never these issues that you see on the media, the way they report, the division that they have. Because if you're in Christ, you can learn to step back. And you don't judge so hard. You love. And love, boy, can it take abuse, because you just don't have to let it affect you. So I don't want to get too much into that, but I think you get the idea. So gold had that manipulation. Then there's the silver. Now, the silver stocks, the reason I want to bring this up, I told you about gold being hundreds. Silver is like 600 to 1 on the manipulation. But in this chart, I want you to see red. JPMorgan Chase, and then you see Brinks, Scotia, HBC, Delaware Depository, and such all on the bottom. Do you notice something in this chart different, though? You notice that red breaking out to extraordinary levels? Like serious ounces, 150 million ounces and plus? What does that mean? Well, JPMorgan, all over these years, when the price of silver and gold, specifically I'll stick with silver, silver had reached this beautiful, God-blessed money of the Bible. I call God's money our constitutional money, Article 1, Section 8. Back then, silver was $50 an ounce. And then they came in with these heavy manipulations to break it down. Well, if you notice who was behind the short selling, or what we call naked short selling in the market, meaning they were selling silver and gold on paper they didn't own. And when you see who's behind it, that's right, JPMorgan and of course Citibank. But JPMorgan, as they were shorting these markets down from the highs back in the day, they were buying the physical on the side. And so we've discovered that JPMorgan has accumulated a vast physical stockpile. Now, there are estimates to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of millions of ounces of silver. We really just don't know the exact number, but we do know that they're the culprit that's been doing a lot of this physical buying. Now, the question is, why are they buying it? Well, obvious reasons probably. They know it's going to skyrocket, and they're going to make a fortune on owning the physical. My question was, well, maybe they're just covering themselves. Maybe they're going to just use it to actually fulfill those short contracts they've been manipulating these prices down with for so long. Well, they got rid of most of those shorts, and they're sitting in a neutral to long position, and they own a lot of this stuff. And believe me, folks, there's something behind that. If JPMorgan's picking up the physical at these levels, you ought to heed the warning and diversify with yourself now, because you're going to find that's going to be worth your while. Here's another one. JPMorgan chased depository silver stocks. If you notice, going back to 2012, now again, 2011-12, that's when silver had peaked at $48 or so, and gold near 2,000. If you notice in this chart here, the green back in 2012 on the left, 11, there's no JPMorgan depository silver stocks. Interesting, right? Because they didn't have any at the time. They were shorting the market, and it got out of control, and it rose anyway. And look at to the level they are now today at 150 million ounces. Now, you got to keep in perspective why they were doing it. Now, in 2011-12, when these prices were skyrocketing, they were stuck in a paper derivative world, losing money. This time around, well, since the market peaked, if you notice at 2012 range, what did they do? They started acquiring silver, physical silver. They have more physical silver than the Hunt brothers did back in the day when they were manipulating the market. There's a reason. And if JPMorgan is doing it, I highly recommend we the people do it too. There's something to say about that. So when it comes to physical silver, when it comes to physical gold, that's a personal question, but I highly recommend being diversified, right now especially. And if you even remotely in your spirit have a stirring that what's coming this next cycle isn't just exactly a natural recession, if there's more to it, which I believe there is, I'm not so sure this next one is going to be a walk in the park. Being protected and diversified is paramount, and watch it, because the claws of the banks are ferocious thieves when it comes to crashes. Get a hold of your own. It's a good place to get started to understand it.
Buying power. What does it mean to you and your family? Have you noticed the prices of everything we buy are rising? Goods and services are becoming more expensive, and the money you work so hard for buys less and less and less. If you saved $250,000 in cash in the 1960s, that cash today would be worth approximately the same, $250,000. Yet does it have the same buying power today? No, not even close. Now take that same $250,000 from the 60s saved in silver instead of cash. Today, it would be worth a staggering $4.25 million. Now that's buying power. Protect and preserve your buying power now by rolling over a portion of your IRA into a silver IRA. Use the power of constitutional money silver to protect your standard of living in retirement and maintain the quality of life you are hoping for. The paper dollar you are saving has tremendous challenges ahead, so don't delay. Call Cornerstone Asset Metals now at 888-747-3309. Don't give away your hard-earned savings any longer. Be diversified. Get protected today.